Boom. Salutations, internet. Thanks for clicking on it. I have a video that I dropped about a week ago and it's getting a lot of attention. And there was some good conversation about starting, click on this card if you haven't seen it, starting a t-shirt line for $500 or so, and explaining that process. Uh, and the ideology behind the way I approach that is kind of based on this video, which is starting a clothing line from t-shirts. And watch that, but basically the ideology is you kind of get into the mind frame of dealing with mass production and managing that production, getting used to the idea that 70%, maybe 80% of your budget is production. Uh, and there was an interesting comment from Paragon on that original on the video that I just dropped, where he suggested doing a cut and sew item by yourself, making the sample and selling it. So to be fair, I wanted to talk about an alternative route than what I mentioned in my prior video. Now, if you know me and know my channel, in the early 2000s, I used to hand make denim. So before anyone knew me on YouTube, I was Jon Phenom, the handmade denim guy. I did a lot of art shows. I would use the denim as a vehicle to do art and work with other artists. But at the end of that project or that branding, I was selling jeans for about $300 to $350 a pair, selling them worldwide, Taipei, Hong Kong, of course here like New York, LA, um, and it was great. But I got so sick of sewing and working a full-time salary job designing seasons for the brands that I was working for while I was living in LA. So that is one way to start. So I did do it that way as well, and you can do that as well. Sew everything together. Get a sewing machine, a brother sewing machine, or maybe something industrial, and putting it together, or creating some sort of small production line. Maybe you find a sample sewer that can help you to speed it up or make a little bit more. And so you make the sample or the item, the garment, and you sell it. So it's very Etsy. It's basically what almost all of the vendors on Etsy do. They sell, it's very crafted product. Now here's the challenge. And the reason that I say my original route, the reason I don't really think of this route is because at some point, if you reach the level of success that you want, you're going to have to deal with production and mass production. So you have to make the transition. The thing with dealing with t-shirts right off the bat is you get to experience that process and go through it right from the beginning, right from the get-go. So maybe using a combination of the two would be a great way to differentiate yourself as a new brand. Maybe you sew together a couple exclusives and then you mix printed, mass-produced product with it. But that's the way. I still recommend going with t-shirts to start the line. When I say t-shirts, I mean printables like hoodies, crews, blank hats that you can embroider or just put an applique patch or label on, because you can have items ready to sell that has your branding or your art direction or your graphics, and see if you can have proof of concept with moving it. It's harder to have proof of concept when you're only selling, I don't know, 5 items, whatever you can sew at each time. So Paragon is right. You can do it that way. So this is another way to start a clothing line with like a limited budget or $500 is, yeah, sew the sample yourself. But if you could see what I'm illustrating here, at some point, if you want to create buzz or really create movement financially to create a base, you're going to have to be able to quick fire shoot out product. That's why mass produced product works so much better for testing the stability of the brand. So that's it. This is a hot topic, so anything you have to add to the conversation, please drop it down below. If you have experience making your samples yourself, or anything that varies between starting with a t-shirt line and the difficulties of that, drop it down below. Let's talk about it. Subscribe, like, all of that, share. Follow me on social media. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.